Hey guys, good morning. Welcome to another episode of Clangin and Banging with Mikey. As you guys can see, I'm in the process of actually painting this remaining portion of this wall behind me. So hopefully, not hopefully, well, as of next week, you won't see, the big old white spot behind me. Everything will be the same color. Anyway, last week I talked about the three main types of CP, and I felt like I should have done a little bit more in-depth um, topics on it. So, just to go over a review, the three main types of CPs: spastic, antode, and different types of. Anyway, spastic. Let me go over that. Is characterized by jerky movements, muscle tightness, and stiffness. And antoid is characterized by abnormal involuntary movements. Types of different antoid CP is dystonia, which is slow rotational movement of the torso, arm, or legs. Chlorea. Again, I don't know how to pronounce these sayings, but if I'm butchering it, my bad. Sudden involuntary movement in fingers and toes. Anthetosis is sluggish, withering movements in the fingers and face. And chlorea anthiotode is a combination of both anthetosis and chlorea. So yeah, there's that. And there's also atastic, a tactic CP which creates problems with balance and coordination, which is caused by the because the developing brain's motor skills are damaged. Hard time controlling movements, hard time with precise movements such as writing, grasping small objects like a pencil or a pen. That's why you see a lot of kids who have CP. They have those little rubber objects placed on the pencil or the pen to help them grasp it better. I'll go into detail about that later on. Atatic can affect the hands, arms, legs, eyes, and even the speech. And as you guessed it, the mixed CP is a movement of problems that fall into one or more categories of cerebral palsy. And cerebral palsy, there is no life expectancy. I have a funny story behind that, and but I'm gonna get to that later. There's no set life, expectancy and whatnot. At least 1 in 10 cases of CP likely have an underlying genetic cause. So you figure 1 in 10, right? And there's, I don't know what, a million babies born every year, or whatever it is. So you do the math. Um, and basically an overview of CP is a lack of control on motor functions, involuntary reflexes, stiff muscles, and decreased muscle tone. Y'all see me without my shirt off. Y'all see me in the gym clanging and banging. So that decreased muscle tone ain't got nothing. Gets no play here. Uh, Seizures and epilepsy and learning disorders. Learning disorders is, I think with CP is it's a very real thing. Uh, Nobody really wants to recognize that there are learning disorders, or but when I was in college, I had the ability to take extended test times, on my exams and whatnot. And I remember one of my instructors, he thought it was bullshit that I got all this extra time to take my exams. And I'm like, well, by federal law, um, I'm entitled to these rights. And so if you want to question those rights, then you won't have to go to the the Hawaii Supreme Court, and figure out a way to, to bypass um, that stipulation. And once I said that, he kind of left me alone after that, because he knew I wasn't somebody to fuck with. And I honestly didn't really like him anyway. So shout out to that asshole. Anyway, man, what they're gonna say about life expectancy. Yeah, man, it's like it's. I think me personally, it has to do with more about your upbringing and the stuff that you eat and everything like that too, and all that stuff, man. It's like having CP is one thing, but it's like the ability, to take care of yourself is another thing. And another thing with CP, it depends how severe it is, but you can have troubles with swallowing, all kinds of shit, man. It's like so it is there's a lot of things that go into CP that a lot of people don't understand, and I'm gonna keep it a buck with y'all because that's what I do. Um, when I was born, when me and my brother was born, we was born 4 months premature. Yeah, 4 months premature, and we were given a 10% shot at living or dying. And as you can see, yeah, that 10%, was tilted more towards the living than it was to the dying. Um, anyway, they actually give you a breakdown of kids who are born premature and like the survival rates and everything. I have to go look at one of my college notebooks because I still have it. I think I still have it, and I talked about if you're born within 26 weeks or whatever it is or yada yada yada. Um, yeah, there's a percentage chance of you not living because because you're so little. And the to put it in terms y'all understand, when I was born, I was about a pound and a half, 2 pounds. So yeah, you know, put that in perspective. And I think the doctors told me something. They said I wouldn't live past 26 because of and this is back in the 80s, and so they had no idea what they were talking about. They were just spitballing, right? And they had no idea, well, no idea what they were doing, what they were saying. That I think they were just throwing out numbers just to throw out numbers. And they said, "Oh yeah, well, you probably won't live past the 26 because of the disability, this and this, boom, 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 boom." Well, motherfuckers, I'm turning 33 this year, so y'all niggas wrong. And yeah, and it's like growing up with CP, it was different, man. Because it's like you could tell that you was different, just by the way I walked, my speech and everything, man. Because I wasn't this savant with words that you see now, man. It's like I had to go to speech therapy. I had to do all this shit, and I remember going to physical therapy all the time because they would have I used to walk pigeon toed, and so I had that surgery to to correct that, and they call it scissoring, where your knees touch together, man. So that shit's annoying because you bump your knees all the time. And but anyway, all jokes aside, man, it's like somebody asked me, do you have a disability? Do you think you have a disability? And I said, on paper, yeah, but physically, no. I mean, it's like I don't understand. I don't I don't think it's a good thing to use this as a crutch to say why you can't do something or whatever it is. And when I look at other people and they tell me like, oh well, you know what, like you've done this, you've done that. I'm like, that's what you're supposed to do, man. It's like you're supposed to, level up in every facet. You're supposed to, want to strive for better things and do better and and have a fulfilled life and all this stuff, man. So when I see people who've known me since I was a kid, now they see me as an adult. They're like, yo, like I didn't, I didn't see this for coming. Neither did neither did anybody else, but except me. I mean, and I think when it comes to CP, man, there's so much shit out there, and there's so much, and people are so overprotective, bro. And it's like I remember when I moved out of my crib the first time when I went to school in Cali, and my mom like she was telling me, "Yo, I don't want you to go this and this and that." I'm like, "Mom, you can't stop me." I mean, it's like Like this is what I'm gonna do. This like this is the goal. I mean, and and even though I was scared, I had to go do it. I had to go see what else was out there. You know what I mean? It's like for 20 some odd years, I spent you know living life on a an island. Of course, I traveled different states, different cities, and whatnot. But in terms of living somewhere else, nah, I've never done that. And so for me to jump off the porch like that, and fall and stumble and pick myself up and keep going, man, is like, bro, that's what you got to do. You know what I mean? It's like, and I think parents or siblings who have other siblings with disabilities, like they look at y'all like, or they look at us like, oh well, like they can't do it, so like well, let's do it for them. Like, no, that don't help us, bro. It's because it's like one day y'all ain't gonna be here, like y'all ain't gonna be to hold our hands or or basic shit, man. It's like I just think that it's like the more independence you have and the more times you're allowed to fuck up and you got to pick yourself up and you got to keep it moving, the better off you'll be. But yeah, man, this video is a little long-winded. Hopefully the information that I wrote down on these flashcards are sufficient enough to what you guys are thinking about. And yeah, man, next week this all gonna be painted. It's all gonna be painted, man. So your boy been slacking, but yeah. Hopefully you guys have a great Sunday. Wherever you guys are at, man. Keep it pushing, keep it positive, keep it playing, keep it private, man. Goes.